Hi, this is Heather. I have a business called Red Ibis Coach where I help people feel better in their toxic jobs or feel more connected to themselves, regardless of how much they're working, or make conscious and deliberate and um, intentional decisions to move abroad. Today, I want to tell you about the experiment that was my dating life from 2011 to 2020. So, around during those times, I was using all of the apps because that's what you did. So, I used Bumble, I used Tinder, I used OkCupid, and I met a lot of people that way. I met a lot of men and some women. But even though I'm single now, I would not use the apps again, and I'm going to tell you why. Part of the reason is because, first of all, there's a lot of catfishing on the apps. There's a lot of people that are not real. It's really important to know that if you're using them. There's a lot of people on there, especially if you're queer. They are not real. They're not real profiles. They're not real people. You'll talk to them and they'll disappear. And it's not because they're ghosting you, it's because it's not a fucking real person. And it's gotten worse and worse over the years to the point where I would not recommend using the apps anymore. But also, here's the bigger thing. Here's an almost conspiracy theory of mine, and you can think whatever you want about this, but these apps are using our data in ways that we cannot even imagine. Think about how intimate the data is on these apps and how much uh, like these companies can use your data however they fucking want. And it's not just demographics, it's who you are willing to sleep with, how soon into a conversation you're willing to talk about intimate things, to talk about your sexuality, to talk about what you're into, how vulnerable you get with strangers, whether or not you respond positively to dick pics or other intimate photos, whether you send intimate photos to people, how soon you give your phone number to somebody, how soon you're willing to meet somebody, um, everything that you're interested in terms of your hobbies, the things you're looking for in a relationship, whether or not you're religious, how many kids you want, or whether or not you are interested in having kids, um, what your standards are for dating, what kind of person you're into, um, whether you meet someone for sex in another country. These apps have all of that information about you. And the longer you use them, the more information about you that they have. And these apps are not designed to find you the love of your life. The apps are designed for you to use the apps, just like all the other fucking social media apps. It's another gamified situation. And this is not necessarily like a cynical, like, I don't want you to find your person if you're looking for your person, or like, I think everyone should just be single and be alone. I think that the healthiest way to try to approach dating is not to use the apps. And I think the biggest reason for that is because we don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like we don't know what the fuck they are doing with your data, but we know that they are just hoarding so much of it. And there are things that have happened to me before on the apps that are concerning, like people sending me other people's intimate photos, um, people stealing my photos and creating another account, and then the online dating company doing nothing about it, even though I reported it multiple times. There are so many catfish accounts for women looking for women who are clearly men who have stolen women's intimate photos and try to use that for sexual gratification when talking to women who think they're talking to a woman. And I won't go into details about the individual times that this happened to me, but this happened so many times that it's clearly a thing. And even on the apps that are just for women looking for women, there are still catfish profiles that men can create. It's really not hard for a man to go on there and create them. And then what, who are these men? Is it some kind of organized thing? What are they doing with the types of conversations and the women who think that they're talking to a woman? What are they doing with that information? And then on apps like Grindr, which obviously I've never used Grindr, but like, what are those men doing with the information about men? What are these apps doing with the information about queer people, trans people, people who are into certain kinks? What are they doing with that information, and where is that information going? And what happens when that information is going where it's meant to go? So essentially, I feel that these apps are data brokerage like powerhouses. The most intimate information that millennials felt compelled to share with each other over a decade or more based on the strong social pressure to use these apps has some kind of consequence that we may or may not be aware of. But I think that the benefit that they're getting from aggregating this data and siphoning this data away for whatever purposes there are, outweighs all of the negative consequences. Like, they don't care. They don't care that I met a murderer on those apps. They don't care that women get assaulted because of those apps. They don't care that I have um, more than once encountered a man who had like stockpiled intimate photos of women to use for their gratification and to share like fucking Pokemon cards with other men. This is a pervasive issue with all of the apps. And I would say if you feel that you must use them, don't share shit on there. Like, try to take the conversation off of the app as soon as possible somehow. But also keep in mind that if you take your conversation to another social media platform, they're still going to take that data. They're still going to take your cyber sex conversation. They're still going to take any intimate photos you share. They're still going to um, take the data that you're sharing on these apps and use them for nefarious purposes. I don't know what those purposes are, but the way that we've just put so much of our intimate information online, I think has been to our detriment. And who knows how far it goes or what it really means. But I think that if we are being truly, like, making truly healthy choices that are truly based in our best interest, then we will not allow the social pressure of, well, if you don't put yourself out there, then you won't meet the love of your life. Like, okay, but you can meet people in real life. And then that conversation is between the two of you and not between you and like the person who is siphoning your data and like some random anybody who is like, hired by these dating app companies to do whatever it is that they do with your information. They're reading these conversations too. Like, you can bet on that. You can trust and believe that they are doing that. So I just think that women need to be really careful. And if you truly truly want to be living authentically healthy and in a mindset where you are not thinking of yourself as a commodity, where you are not thinking of yourself as just part of a statistical algorithm where like people are appraising you like a piece of meat and deciding whether or not you're pretty enough or have a good family or whatever. I just think we deserve better. And I think that that better is not on the apps, but it's just my opinion. Share any of your own horror stories in the comments. Be careful out there.